welcome to the Raptors Show, powered by DoorDash on Sportsnet 590, The Fan. I'm your host, Will Lou. A reminder, we are streaming live on Sportsnet's YouTube channel and airing live on Sportsnet 360, Monday to Friday between 2 and 3 p.m. Our plan for today, on the first segment, we will be joined in a bit by Raptors forward Thaddeus Young. I was down at practice today, along with Alex, and just taking in sort of what the Raptors are right now, and obviously hoping to speak with Thad there. Didn't fully work out with the timing, but we will get him on the line, and we will chat with Thad. Definitely want to get his perspective on a lot of things in terms of just like how he's been coming over to the league, coming over to the Raptors. Obviously, in the trade deadline, it's got to be a whirlwind experience for a lot of these guys. And for him, I'm just curious in terms of just how he's settling in, what his role was described to him as, what his experiences with the team have been. And also, he's got a long-time connection with OG Anunoby, which definitely get more answers from that, because I think with OG, he's like the international man of mystery. And, I think Thad probably knows OG better than most people do, which is not saying a lot, actually. OG is very mysterious. But in any case, speaking of OG, it seems like he was able to do a little bit of stuff at practice. Nick giving us the update about him and Gary Trent Jr. Nick seems confident that the plan for OG is that he will come back, not for the game tomorrow on Thursday. That'd be ideal if he could. Obviously, it would be great if Gary could be there too. But it seems like both those guys will be out for that game. They got some better news for Gary. They thought, look, that might have been something more serious. But apparently the scans came back and they're all cool. So, we'll expect Gary back. I guess this is probably more of a day-to-day thing for him. Still doubtful for Thursday, I would believe. And then with OG, I guess the plan is you get him back, get 5-6 games in before the end of the season. There's 10 left here. And obviously we know what the injury is. He sort of played through it in the past. It kind of affected his performances. And, he's got a fracture in the finger. So he's got to basically figure out if he can play through it. And, of course, that's going to take some time. And my best guess is obviously these games are very important. Like this Cleveland game coming up is basically I'm going to call it the play-in game before the play-in games. Obviously, it's very important that you take this game against Cleveland. But listen, as long as the Raptors are healthy going into the playoffs, it's hard to ask for anything else, because as we've seen, the Raptors' record against teams above 500 is very strong. We know they can compete with anybody. And ultimately, if they have to go through a tougher road, they will do so. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. Joining us now is Raptors forward Thaddeus Young. Thad, how you doing, man?
Doing fine. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Listen, Thad, I wanted to get in and start here and ask you about sort of what the last month has been like for you. You get traded to the Raptors, and then not only is that sort of unsettling, but you guys are on the road like pretty much every other day. I was looking at the schedule for a while there. You guys had 15 games, with only 10 games off in between. I'm sure a lot of those off days you guys were just traveling, so that's not even really an off day. And you guys played at home recently, but that was a one-game stop at home. So what's life been like for you in the last month?
It's probably, for me, it's probably been one of the toughest scraps that I've been a part of, for the simple fact of I got traded and had to be on the road immediately, and then come to Toronto for a game, get a work visa and deal with everything, get tested obviously and stuff like that, and then get back on. So you're not just learning one or two positions, you're learning all five. And that's pretty tough. So it's been a lot to try to get acclimated to. But the good thing is we've been able to, win some games. We play a unique style of basketball, with having, sometimes on the court, 5, 6, 8, 6, 9 guys that can line up and play with anybody in the league. So, it's definitely been one of the most unique situations I've been a part of, but it's also been tough. And these are the challenges that we have to live through and have to fight with, being in the NBA.
Yeah, definitely. And I definitely want to get into the play style that you're coming into, because obviously the Raptors love this positionless basketball. To be honest, I was thinking back on it. You have been this positionless player for a long time, so we'll get into that. But I really wanted to touch on just the trade deadline.
We try to have practice. We can't really, come on now. We can't really have practice.
Yeah, that's true.
Just because another game is coming right off. And then, like, we've had so many back-to-back since I've been here. It's been crazy.
Yeah.
It's, you can't really practice like, like you need to in order to kind of like get guys locked into, what's going on. But, the good thing is, like, I'm a vet. I've been around. So, I understand, situations. I understand matchups. I understand how to go out there and, use my unique skill set to be able to play. So that's the good thing about, like, a guy like me is, like you said, positionless basketball and being able to go out there and guard multiple positions, it helps.
Yeah, definitely. I think, look, there's a reason the Raptors wanted to get you, right? Like, I think that, I was even watching back on the open gym clip that they put out of the episode where, they brought you in the trade deadline and Masai was saying, like, look, we've wanted you for a long, long time. And so I was just going to ask you there, like, when did you sort of, get the idea that the Raptors might be in the mix for you? Obviously, with San Antonio, you were in a situation where they wanted to go younger, so they were going to move you at the trade deadline. But when did that? Just take us through the trade dedeadline. When did you know the Raptors were in the picture, and sort of how was that whole process for you?
My agent called me literally like the day before.
Oh, okay.
He called me like the day before. It was like, yo, Masai, he want if you get waived, because San Antonio had already informed me that that if I wasn't traded, that we weren't going to do a buyout. They were just going to waive me and let me like have my full salary, which was a great thing on their behalf. And I think it's simply because, like, I didn't come in and not try to help the young guys. I came in, even though I wasn't playing, I was still coming to work every day. I was still showing the young guys, this is how you work. This is what you need to do. I was still teaching them and stuff like that. So I think that was like one of the benefits of, like, being able to, still get my full salary if they were to waive me. But my agent called me like the day before. I had a conversation with Pop, and he told me, that they're going to try to work something out and try to get something done. And then my agent called me. It was like, it's like 5, 6, 7 teams that, they want to see if you're going to get waived, or they want to see what they can do in the trade market.
Mm-hmm.
And then he told me about Masai and how, like, Masai was, like, really, like, trying really hard, and he wanted to, like, talk to me as soon as, like, I was either waived or out of the situation with San Antonio. And I told him, I said, yeah, I said, I'm willing to have a conversation and talk, and then, they went on and made the trade. So that's pretty much how it kind of went down.
Yeah, for sure. And listen, I'm not, asking you to spill any industry secrets or anything like that. But it's clear that Masai has liked you for a long time, right? So what have some of the conversations been like between you guys since joining the team? Like, why was he so interested in you in particular? And yeah, just what are those chats been like with Masai?
I mean, like, we've been on the road so much. I haven't really had time to, like, really sit down and chat with him. But our conversations are simple, like just how we can make the team better, how we can continue to grow the young guys' games, and because obviously, like, I'm in year 15. We don't know how long I'll play, or how much longer. But one thing I do bring is I bring the ability to still play. I bring enormous amount of of experience that the young guys can kind of piggyback off. Like, I've been doing a lot of help with Scotty and Precious, and making sure that they come to play every single night, and making sure that they're doing the things that they need to do as pros, and making sure that they're in the gym and working on things they need to work on. But I think that's where the making a trade for me comes in at. Like, I'm more than willing to be a teammate. I'm not selfish. I'm one of those teammates that wants to see all the other teammates do well and do great, because the only thing I'm focused on is winning basketball games. The only thing I care about is winning basketball games, whether I score 10 points or I score 2 points. As long as we win basketball games, then I'm extremely happy. I can care less about what the stat sheet says. I can care less about anything else that goes on. As long as it says at the end of the day that the Toronto Raptors has a W by their name and the other team has an L, I'm good to go.
Yeah, no, I think this is the exact mindset that not just you, but probably everybody in the team, should be having, and every pro. That's a great approach. And I think, in terms of, so when you got moved here, then I'm sure at least you had a conversation with Nick and the coaching staff in terms of just like the role and expectations for you and everything like that. How were those described to you, and sort of how have you sort of felt it out so far in the last like 2-3 weeks?
Just to play basketball. Play basketball and just try to help the team any way I can. The one thing about this team is that anybody on any given night can go out there and score, 10, 20, 25 points. It's an equal opportunity. Obviously we have our guys, and our guys is Fred and, Scott is coming on and Precious is coming on, but our guys and Gary's doing his thing. And, but our main three scorers are Gary, Fred, and Pascal. And, those three are going to take us to the promised land. They're going to take us home, and then everybody else has to, chip in and do what we have to do in order to win basketball games. But the one thing about this team is everybody brings a specific talent, and we all try to excel at our specific talent to help win basketball games.
Right. And I think you have really fit in really well. Like you're already seeing you start to take charges and make the extra little passes, and obviously you can get a bucket when you want to as well. But they had you catching and shooting in the corner, and I was just thinking about like I guess the idea of positions is kind of just the Raptors don't really care about the specific positions of things, but like how much is for a player, like how much of a challenge is it for you to not necessarily know what your role might be game to game, or even from quarter to quarter? Like they might put you in a lineup, you might be playing 3, they might downsize, they might play you a 5. Is that a challenge for you, or is it more so that's where you lean on your experience, being in the league 15 years?
I think I lean on my experience because, I've done both. Over the course of time, I've done both. So I lean on my experience a little bit more than the switching of the positions. I have the ability to play some 3. I have the ability to play 4. I have the ability to play 5. I have the ability to push the break and then kind of initiate the offense and, start with a pass and cut through. It's not hard stuff. So, but, that's why I lean on the experience of playing, and just being more than willing to, do all the little things that I've continued to do over the course of my career, that's gotten me to this point. And just kind of feeding off that type of energy, doing the little things that don't show up on the stat sheet, rebounding, getting block shots, and getting steals, taking charges. Everything doesn't necessarily have to end with scoring a bucket, because we have enough guys on this team that can score a bucket. On every team I've been on, I've been able to score buckets, but I've been more than willing to sacrifice my game for the betterment of the team. And it doesn't change here.
Yeah, no, I think that's something that, just doing a lot of research in terms of your time in Chicago, Indiana, Brooklyn, Philly, these teams, they have consistently coaches and former teammates have consistently said that about you. And I think it's probably part of the reason why, you've had such great longevity in your career. And I think, based on the fact that, so you played in all these different scenarios, right? Like, would you say the Raptors are like the most unique team you played on, just based on the way they've sort of built the roster?
Yes. I not lying to you. When I first got here, I was like, I checked into the game, and then I was like, I said, so I went back to Fred. I said, so we just not gonna get a center, huh? He was like, no, they don't believe in having centers here. I said, oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it was crazy because we were on it was a lineup of like 5 power forwards. I was like, oh shit. And I think I might have been like either the shortest or second shortest in the lineup, and I was oh wow. But it's cool though, because it puts us in a position where we can switch all 5 ways, and everybody can guard everybody.
Right.
And then when we all stretched out across that in that paint and across the 3-point line and the line, it's hard to see seams and gaps for other teams.
Right.
I know when I'm out there, I'm looking at it sometimes, and I see a tall, huge ass team. I'm like, shit, there's no gaps to hit. And so you can only imagine what seeing 5'6'8", 6'9" guys with 7-foot plus wingspans out there, stretched out across the court. Like, how difficult is that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I was gonna say there's clearly times where like it really works, right? Like I thought that Denver game was one of the best wins on that road trip, where second night of a back-to-back in altitude. You guys coming from Phoenix, that was already a
That
great
was a
win.
huge win. Like, we went from like on that road trip, we went from huge win to huge win to huge win to huge win. Like, all like wins that we definitely know we needed. Like,
Yeah.
we still need wins now. Like, we have a tough one tomorrow with Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we're both fighting for that sixth spot.
Yeah.
So like I think we all know like that we're at a point in the season where it's like, it's almost win or go home time, and we don't want to play any extra games. We want to play the games that we're supposed to play, and that's not a play-in game. That's an actual playoff game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, I thought that 5-game road trip, or I guess it was 6-game road trip, but 5 games out west, and you guys taking all 5, like that's so hard to do. You've been in the league a long time. That's basically impossible, just based on the schedule. Like
that might be the first time. That might be the first time I played on the team where we went out west and had like a sweep.
Right.
Like, it might have been the first time, and it's great. Like, obviously, like, it's great when you're winning, but the one thing we definitely can't fall into is being complacent with, the wins that we got, and understanding that we got to continue to, win and continue to still put the time and the work in, and, just make the conscious effort of just knowing that, we're still fighting for a position to be in one of those top 6 spots.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, the reason I brought up that Denver game was because I thought that was a great example of like the Raptors putting like the 5 power forwards out there working really well. Because I thought in that fourth quarter, like first off, you and the rest of the bench really got that thing rolling. But then when Jokic came back in, the way you guys were able to like front the post, pressure the ball, so that they couldn't even get the ball to Jokic, and he was starting to get frustrated, and just seeing like how difficult of a time Denver had to just run their offense, because it was like they get a screen, you guys will switch, Jokic will get, Scotty in the post, you in the post, Chris Boucher in the post, and it's like, yeah, I mean, there's no real advantages. Like, it's the same matchup no matter where you go, right? And I thought that was like a great example of you guys, like, that's the idea of what you guys want to do. You guys can really be special defensively with all that length out there.
Right. No, we like our coaches put together like really good game plans. Like, they're like phenomenal at their jobs. Like, just in my few like short weeks of like being here, like, they put together some of the best game plans I've seen coaches put together in order to go out there and win basketball games that, over the course of my 15-year career. We have some really solid coaches that really know basketball, that really know how to put together a solid game plan, and then making adjustments on the fly. Like, I think that's one of the biggest things, like making those adjustments on the fly and making sure that, when something's happening, like, we're able to hear and make those adjustments quick, and then make sure we kind of get ourselves together.
Yeah. Well, no, listen, I think it definitely works a lot of times. And look, sometimes offensively, I think maybe it could get a little bit more awkward, but I think the one unique advantage you guys really have is like, because you guys are so big across the board, like someone's going to have a post-up advantage, a size advantage, especially the way like you can play in the post. Scotty obviously plays in the post. Pascal plays in the post. When OG's back, he's going to play in the post. Like, there's just based on how the teams are going to guard you, they're not going to have that much length out there. So you guys really have that advantage. Is that like one of the points of emphasis for you guys? Is just like, look, I know the post is not as like frequently used nowadays in the modern NBA where everyone wants to space it out, but like you guys have real advantages down there.
Yeah, I mean, that's not one of the points of emphasis, but I think the biggest point of emphasis is not really the post. It's more so attack.
Okay.
Like playing, like, let's play out a flow offense and attack, and make sure, like, we're getting downhill, and then if we get into a stagnant situation, cutting the guy out, and then using that cutout as a driving lane to kind of initiate some offense and some flow. And I think we do a really good job of that. Like, especially like Pascal like comes down and like a guy cut out, and he uses the driver lane and gets to where he needs to get to on the court. Same thing with Fred. Like, but these guys have also been playing in the same offense for the past 6 years.
Right.
So they understand it. They understand like where they're going to get their shots from, where they're going to score, and how they're going to score, and how they're going to do their thing. But and the other guys kind of just fill in around. Like we make our reads, we make our cuts, and we try to get out of their way and make sure that and they make sure that we get the best shot possible at the rim.
Right. Well, I mean, listen, I think you guys also get on the offensive glass as well. Right, I thought that Philly game was a great example. You guys out-rebounded them 20-5, and they had Embiid on that side.
That's our calling card. Like, our calling card is, honestly, just really, really getting after it on the glass because we know, a team might have a center, but, once that center is out of play, he's going for a shot. Like, we're on the glass, 3-6-8 jumping on the glass on two guards that's trying to be down there and rebound.
Yeah.
That's hard. You know what I'm saying? So that's our calling card. Our calling card is getting out there and mucking things up defensively. By getting into guys on the wing, forcing them to take tough shots, tough contested shots. Not per se at the rim, but more so at the in the long two area, and then getting out there defensively and making sure that defensively we're putting ourselves in a position to where we can, stop teams and then offensively get down on the other end and pound the glass. Like if a shot goes up and it's a miss, attack the rim, just like you driving a basketball.
Right. And listen, I think that's kind of refreshing too, because a lot of teams nowadays, they don't want to crash the glass because they're worried about the transition defense. But you guys consistently get back too. And you guys are able to crash the glass. It's really nice to see. I think it's the Raptors play a very unique style of basketball, as we sort of talked about. Now, you mentioned earlier that, since you've gotten here, you've really been in the ear of Scotty and Precious. And I saw that I was at practice earlier. I mean, they were staying late. Precious, I mean, he might have done an extra hour and a half afterwards, just shooting, finishing drills, everything like that. Same thing with Scotty. And so let's start with Scotty. I mean, since the time you've been here, he's had 28 twice. He had 31, 17, and 6. He had 25 and 10, beating, tough teams on the road. From your perspective as a player, I think we've seen KD, Bradley Beal, Jason Tatum, LeBron. Everybody said nice things about Scotty. And as a player, when you see a guy like that as a rookie, what is standing out to you? What is something that with Scotty that when you watch him, you're like, damn, this guy's going to have a long career and he's going to do great things in this league?
Man, I told him. I told him first day when we first got out there. I said, "Hey, you special." I said, "It's a reason why they picked you and they brought you here. It's a reason why they playing you and doing it and letting you do the things that you do." I said, "You special." I said, so I said, and I think he had took a crazy foul or something like that. And I told him, I said, "You can't take these crazy fouls." I said, "In order for us to win a basketball game, who do you think we need on the court in order to play, in order to win?" And he was like, "Yeah, you're right." He's like, me. I said, "Yeah." I said, "So let's not take crazy fouls." I said, let me take the crazy fouls. I said, "You focus on getting the offense, situated and orchestrated, getting into the post, pounding the little guys." I said, "But you can't take wild fouls because at the end of the day, we need you on the court. Our best chance of winning is having you on the court." I said, you're a special talent. I said, "You're going to make a lot of money in this league and you're going to be in this league a long time, but you can't be taking crazy fouls. You got to," I said, "I like your aggressiveness, but you have to learn how to channel that and be smart with what you're doing." And, I've just been in his ear the whole time, just talking to him, just telling him just keep putting that work in, just keep working, stay aggressive. Don't let up. I think in the Philly game, I hit him, I drove the basketball and I hit him in the middle of the lane. He missed a chip. He was on himself tough. And I told him, I said, "Okay, let that shit go." And I said, you come out, and I said, "I know you missed the last one, so you probably going to want to pass up on it." I said, "But take the next opportunity. If it's close to the rim, make sure you take it with authority." So I'm just always encouraging my teammates, staying positive with them and making sure that they know how good they really are and how good they can really be. Sometimes you have teammates that don't understand what their ceiling are. They don't understand their potential. And then the other teammates might see it and it needs to be voiced and it needs to be heard sometimes from a teammate, especially somebody like me who's played 15 years in. My voice may be a little stronger than some other guys.
Yeah, no, and listen, I think that's been something that all your teams have been saying about you. And, I think in the case of Precious, he had nice things to say about you as well, in terms of the things that, he's getting in, picking your brain, sort of trying to figure out to see the court the way you see it, obviously with all the experience and the expertise you got. What are your thoughts on Precious too? Because I think since the All-Star break, he has just been he's doing a great job. Obviously, he's hitting the three really nicely, which is really promising. But he's just playing, I think, more efficient basketball, especially on the offensive end. And then defensively, he's
playing.
special. Defensively, I feel like he's
playing.
special.
He's playing. The biggest thing with him is he's playing confident.
Yeah.
Like that was the one of the first things I seen with him was, his confidence wasn't, where it needed to be for his athleticism. I was like, man, I said, we know you're athletic. You're the most athletic on the team. I said, when I swing you a basketball and you're open, you shoot it.
Simple.
I said, it's simple as that. I said, you have the ability to make threes.
Yeah.
Shoot them. If you're open, shoot it. Now, sometimes, like, he might take some contested ones and stuff like that, but I like his aggressive nature because he's too athletic not to be aggressive.
Yeah, no doubt.
And,
yeah.
and when he puts that pressure on other teams, it just creates havoc for the opposing teams, and I think he's a vital piece to us winning basketball games because when he comes in, he gives us a spark. He's getting after it defensively. He's athletic. He can score the basketball. And he knows how to play basketball, and just being aggressive is going to push him over the hump.
No, it's great. It's great to see, and I think defensively too. I mean, you guys trusted. Well, Precious was the main defender against Joel Embiid, along with Kem, and that game went over the Sixers. But then late in that game, Kem was I don't think he was into close, but Precious was into close. And I thought James Harden tried to get him on ISOs, and he was guarding him well too. And it's like, how many players in this league can guard Harden and Embiid? Obviously you got to bring help against all these star players, but to do that kind of job against those two assignments, I think Precious is such a big part of what you guys have done post trade deadline.
Yeah, for sure. Like they're like everybody's vital to what we do. Going out there, because every piece is needed, for us to win basketball games. From Malachi on down.
Mm-hmm.
So. I think the biggest thing is just like everybody just continuously playing their roles and understanding who we are as basketball players and just making sure that, when we go out there, we execute our jobs.
Right. All right. I wanted to ask you about OG Anunoby as well, just real quickly. I know he's played on your AAU team. And I just want to know your first impressions of OG. The first time you saw him play, I think you said before that, when you saw him in high school, you thought he was going to be a guy who was going to go pro, and obviously he did. What gave you that confidence that a guy like OG was going to go pro, even at a young age when you saw him?
Yeah, he's one of the guys that, like, when I first saw him, I was like, that kid's a pro. Like, he's going to be amazing. Just because, like, I've seen his body type, like how athletic he was, what he can do, like how he can defend multiple positions, he can score the basketball. Like I was like, man, yeah, this is definitely a pro. Like I don't see nothing other. If he's in school all 4 years, it's his fault. So
right.
So he's definitely one of the first guys that came through our AAU program that I was like, okay, yeah, he's the one. And I can always see that, like, he's a special talent. He knows exactly how to go out there and play. He knows his job. He knows his role, and he's a great teammate and he's a great kid.
Yeah, he's a very smart kid too. I feel like he's just. He's got this, like, I know, so he's been with the Raptors now 4 or 5 years, and he's always got this, like, persona about him, like the shroud of mystery. He doesn't say a lot to the media, and I know he's a little quirky. He loves to wear Crocs or something like that. I don't know, man. He's just got a lot of little OG,
I got on a pair of Crocs right now.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, damn, the influence is great. But no, seriously though, like, what's OG like behind the scenes? Because I think people always want to know about OG behind the scenes because he's so mysterious in front of the camera sometimes.
OG is funny.
Yeah.
He cracks jokes, and he's always talking about, like, he's from my hood and stuff in Memphis. And we always have conversations like that. He's funny though. OG is a jokester, But he over. I always say he overanalyzes a lot of situations when he shouldn't.
Okay.
But that's OG though. But I love him as a kid. I think he's one of the best teammates. I think he's a great kid to be around, and he's definitely one of those people that's like analyzes a lot of situations. A very very smart thinker, and just funny.
All right. All right. Well, Thad, listen, before we let you go, I got some rapid fire questions. Bring it back to you, and then we're going to let you go. But thank you for your time. You've been really, really generous. All right.
Yep.
So, first off, rapid fire. According to my research, in addition to being an elite basketball player, you also ran track in high school and graduated with a 4.3 GPA. Is that true?
I ran cross country.
Cross country? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
But the 4.3?
And I did. And yes.
Okay. What was your favorite subject?
I didn't really have one. I just wanted to just get my work done and so I could rest and play basketball.
Listen, okay, all right. Well, what's the 4.3? I mean, every subject's your favorite subject, man. All right. If you had to host a podcast with OG and Obi for an hour, what would you talk to him about?
I would probably talk to him about just random stuff because I know he's going to overanalyze every situation.
Fair enough. Maybe OG's got to start a podcast. I think that's the best, one of the best mediums for overanalyzing things. All right. Next question here. What's the best piece of advice that you have received from a vet in your career?
Best piece of advice is I would probably say is just play every single night like it's your last day in the NBA.
Okay, don't take it for granted. I like that. All right, what's the biggest misconception that you might have had about Toronto or other people might have had about Toronto that you have since learned is not true since joining the team?
I wouldn't say any.
Yeah. Okay.
Like everything I've been told has been true so far, and it's been a great experience.
All right, that's good. Well, second last one here. Give us your favorite Allen Iverson story. I know you guys briefly crossed paths in Philly.
The first day he missed his flight first, and then he came in.
Okay.
But the first day he came in, he had all his clothes sitting in my seat, and I moved his clothes and set them on his seat, and he came in and called me a punk B mother effer.
Thank you for making this radio friendly. I love
it. But he was joking though. He was out. AI was like Chuck was one of the best teammates probably ever. Just for the simple fact of like he would always crack jokes and make everything funny and lighten the mood up. When everybody was kind of like uptight.
No, that's great. That's great to hear. It seems like a very AI story. I don't know. It feels very like specific to him. All right, last one here. Fate of the universe on the line. The Martians got the death beam pointed at Earth. One shot. Who do you have taking that shot?
Say that again.
Fate of the universe on the line. The Martians have the death beam pointed at Earth. One shot to save the world. Who do you have taking that shot?
Anybody in the league?
Anybody ever. Men's, women's, college, international, NBA.
I'm probably say like Kobe.
Kobe. Okay, that's fair. I feel like I'm in good hands. I'm a little less stressed. Thad, thank you so much for your time, man. I appreciate you so much. Best of luck with the season. Go beat Cleveland tomorrow. I think Raptor fans are anxious. We want to see the team in the 6th seed. And
yes, that's the plan.
All right, Thad, I appreciate you.
All right, thank you.
All right, that was our interview with Thaddeus Young, Toronto Raptors forward. I'm going to take a quick break right here, and on the other side, we will talk more about the rest of the team. I've been your host, Willow. You've been listening to The Raptors Show, powered by DoorDash on Sportsnet 590, The Fan. Welcome back to the Raptors Show, powered by DoorDash on Sportsnet 590 The Fan. I'm your host, Will Lou. Thanks again to Thad Young for joining us on the program the first half. I think it's very clear from Thad's perspective that, man, he's just a great teammate. Like, I think that that perspective, that wisdom is very invaluable to some of the young guys, but also just the fact that he's willing to come in. And as he said, it doesn't really matter if he scores 10, 2 points. It doesn't really matter. Like, he's just here to do what the Raptors need from him to win. And I think that obviously the Raptors have different roles in the team. Guys serve different roles. But I think him and Kem in particular are the two guys who probably the two most veteran guys on the team. But their focus is solely just on making winning plays however they can. And it's nice. It's really refreshing. I think any really good team is going to need a few guys like that. So thanks again to Thad for being a good teammate and coming on the show and just lavishing so much praise on his guys. Joining us in the second half of the show is Oren Weisfeld of Raptors Republic. Oren, first off, I apologize. We went extra long with Thad because, let's be real, Thad is a really nice interview, and it was great to talk to. That does mean, unfortunately, we cut your time a little bit short. So I apologize off the top, but we will get you back in the program quite a bit. But anyway, Oren, how you doing, man?
Yeah, man, I'm good. Thanks for having me, and no worries. Excited to make my Raptor Show weekday edition debut, and I understand that Thad takes precedent. I thought the interview was great, so no worries.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Well, listen, I know Alex's Saturday show is sometimes we joke about that being the G League showcase. That's not true. It's not fair. No, seriously, Oren, you've been on the list for a long time, and I think, look, one thing that I really respect about you is just like the amount of the output of your writing this season has been tremendous. I know you've been following the team very closely for a long time, but just getting in the building, getting those reporter reps, and I think you've really taken it and you've really run with it. And I think I had two stories that I really wanted to get into with you. And the first one here is on Pascal Siakam's emergence as one of the best players in the league. It's up on Yahoo Sports Canada. And, you really – I love these types of pieces where you really go into depth. I could tell that you've probably watched tons of video on those NBA.com video box scores because I see the watermark at the top. I know exactly what that means. No, but, like, you really poured into – what he's done this season. You broke it down into components, the mid-range game, the passing, the defense, everything like that. So let's just go into it this year, and we'll start at the top. Just what's been the biggest progression that you've seen from Pascal this season, where I think you and I both agree that this is the best year of his career so far?
Yeah, well, thanks for the kind words. I appreciate them. And, yeah, like, I wrote this piece and dove into the film because, like, I feel like he's criminally underrated still, which is, like, really frustrating, and we do this all, like, Canada versus America thing up here, and sometimes we're really over exaggerating it. But like, I was just listening to the Low Post, and they were bringing up like third team forward suggestions, and they kept mentioning Sabonis and just did not mention Pascal, and I was like going crazy. I was like, you guys really need to watch more Raptors games. So like that was kind of why I wanted to write a piece like this about Pascal. And the other thing that it came out of was, like, watching that Boston series where they lost in the bubble, and Siakam, obviously, he wasn't good offensively, but at the same time, some of the genuine weaknesses of this game were really highlighted by that Boston defense. Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, we're projecting into the playoffs. How has Pascal improved in, like, those meaningful ways? And that's what the piece was about. And I think, like, we'll get into some of those ways, but generally why he's been better this year, I think, than ever before is just like his feel and his approach, I think, is the biggest thing. We'll get into some more minutia, but I think like when in the past he'll get the ball swung up to him at the top of the arc, maybe there's 10 seconds on the shot clock, and he'll shoot like a pull-up three. Mm-hmm. And that's like an okay, not great shot for him. Now he'll reset the offense. He'll either like find a mismatch, call for a screen, ISO, whatever it is, but I feel like he's just getting really, really good shots this year, and he's passing up okay shots for really good ones. And that just comes with feel, and it comes with seeing more defenses as a number one option and getting the reps. And I think like I've been really impressed with his approach.
Yeah, I think you included a really great quote in here about or what Pascal said about his own game. And he said, quote, I think the more you get in situations for me, the better I get. I'm just picking up stuff, and the more I see defenses, the better I get. And also I try to work on just being composed and just knowing where I want to go and how I'm imposing my will and getting to the spots that I want to get to. I think that's what special players do. And I think, look, that's exactly it. There's just a lot of patience in the way he's attacking nowadays. You've seen it a lot where in this Philly game most recently, and also in the Chicago game, where Pascal was by far the Raptors' best offensive player, maybe arguably their only very productive offensive player in these two games. But like, um, he is just getting to his spots. He's getting to his points on the floor, and it feels like this year in particular, that mid-range game for him, especially when he's able to play one-on-one in that mid-range area, that's an area of his game that you highlighted that I think has really stood out to a lot of people. So can you detail some of the finer points of Pascal's mid-range game, what he's improved on, maybe other moves that he sort of picked up on, also just the fact that obviously he's able to hit a better percentage from that mid-range area when he's going into that jumper?
For sure. So just from the efficiency standpoint, like I thought it would be unfair to compare him to last season because it was just a bad season all around. I more tried to compare him to the All NBA season where we're kind of saying, okay, is he really better than he was when he was second team All NBA, and trying to argue that he is.
Mm-hmm.
So he's shooting 44% from the mid range on a much higher difficulty and much higher rate. 52% of his shots coming from there, and that's 10 percentage points better than he shot in that All NBA season. So, like, that's pretty significant. And I think with the mid-range, it goes back to what I said about the Boston series where the three-point shot wasn't going down. Boston was switching everything, so he couldn't really get the drives. And he didn't have a lot. The mid-range is the shot that's there in the playoffs. We kind of know
right.
this. It's where the best operate. And so for him to be able to be, 66th percentile among forwards, so pretty efficient on a really high rate, I think that's going to be huge. And just what like he's actually doing in order to have success. I think what I'm seeing is the handle is improved, so he
right.
can kind of get into tighter spaces where he can then go up for his mid-range. So that's one thing. It's really improved from where it was a couple seasons ago. And the other thing is, like, he's really embracing contact. You'll see him do the Kawhi thing a lot more where he'll give someone the shoulder, then go up after he creates some space with the shoulder. And he was really, like, contact averse last season, and I think that's completely changed in his game.
Yeah, and I think that's something you want to see from him, quite honestly. Like, he's mostly going up against guys smaller than him. Like, I love seeing the fact that, I mean, obviously he has a spin move, which is devastating for him to the point where Miles Bridges is rapping about his spin move. But we'll get to that. That's a Thursday topic with Alex for sure. I know Alex is a hip hop aficionado.
That's more of a reaction podcast topic than a radio one, I would say.
Yeah, no, fair enough. But like, the spin move is almost designed to take you away from the contact, right? And you're trying to go away from where the physicality is coming from, using that momentum against them and then getting into free space. I think the fact that he's able to sort of take the bumps and also get up for the shots has been really nice. I think the other thing too is just the mindset as a point guard. You sort of highlighted this, but obviously last season in Tampa, terrible year, right? But they were able to make the most of it, not only tanking and getting Scotty out of it, which was fantastic. Trading for Gary Trent Jr. was fantastic, but they were able to give Pascal a lot of reps as that main ball handler, as a point guard in a lot of these scenarios. And I think you're really starting to see it pay off. Like, basically, if Fred's not playing games, where sometimes he's obviously been in and out of the lineup, Pascal is just the guy who's just going to run point, along with Scotty, along with other guys maybe, but mostly Pascal's going to have the ball in his hands. He's going to have to make these decisions. What have you seen from Pascal's progression as not a point guard, because we all know he's too big to be a point guard, but like in that role of facilitating and trying to initiate attacks as the lead guard?
Yeah, I think he's reading the game quicker, and I don't know how you feel, but I think like when the ball's in his hand, I feel the best about the offensive like structure and the offensive process. Not necessarily the output or execution always, but I feel like they're getting the best shots when Pascal has the ball, and then he's operating, whether it's out of the post, getting doubled and passing out of it, or taking a guy's ISO or running pick and roll. Like I think really good things happen when he has the ball in his hand. What it is, I think it's kind of all the stuff we talked about a little bit, like the handle improving helps him get into the paint, and then when the defense converges, he can now pick out the passes to his teammates. And, the spin move even, like when he's spinning now, the whole defense, you'll see, like, I know you've, like, cut clips where, like, 4 guys are literally on him, and then he passes out, and it's a wide open 3 for Scotty or Precious or Fred or Gary. So I think, like, all the little things we're talking about help him put the defense in compromised situations, and now he's seeing the game slowly enough where he knows where the defense is going to be and where his teammates are going to be open, and he's making those passes. And then, like, on a smaller thing, the passes aren't just okay. This season, I think, compared to last season, they're, like, right in the shooter's pocket, or he's leading cutters right into the rim rather than, like, get it, take a couple shots. You know, like, he's leading them into the shot. So that's all been good, and obviously in transition as well, he's really improved.
Yeah, definitely. And there's a lot of good details in there about the playmaking and the transition and the mid range, which is why I really enjoyed this piece of yours. But I also wanted to just like say that, like, you know, the Pascal's improvements as a point guard, I think a lot of that it hasn't really been talked about as much, but Earl Watson joined the Raptors coaching staff this year, and I think he deserves a lot of credit. I mean, he's been working closely with Pascal on this front, and you know, it's something where, you know, everyone knows that Pascal in the offseason likes to go to the UCLA runs and work with Rico Hines and all these other guys. I mean, Earl Watson is part of those runs, and he's part of, you know, everything that goes down there. And I think that his addition to the coaching staff and his ability to sort of teach guys to attack based on his experience as a former point guard, what could be effective, what are spots, what are the right reads, what are the ways that defensively guards will think to try to guard against these guys. I think Delano talked about it a lot, but I think he's also worked closely with Pascal to sort of get his, I don't know, just his reads up to a sharper spot and get to his one-on-one game. I think it's really helped him, and I think that's been a nice addition to the Raptors assistant coaching staff. Unfortunately, we never get to talk to Raptors assistants. I think this is just like a media-wide embargo with all their assistants or even consultants. But in any case, wanted to shout out Earl for that. And I guess the last question I have about Pascal is really just like, how do you see all this translating to the playoffs in a playoff setting? So I think that's where, if there's any more lingering doubts about Pascal, which I don't think it's unfair to have some doubts. It's fine, right? We all saw the bubble. It's something that is going to stick with people for a while. But how do you see all of these improvements translating into a playoff scenario? Is it going to equip him better to sort of handle that kind of scrutiny? What do you sort of foresee?
Yeah, I think people are definitely, like, slow to change their opinions on stuff like this. And he had kind of a bad season and a half. So maybe, like, 6 months or whatever that he's been really rolling isn't enough to sway some people's opinion, but it has been for me, and I think that the playoffs will do that for a lot of other people if he just keeps doing what he's doing, and I don't see any reason why he's not able to. It's not like in the regular season, it's not like defenses aren't throwing everything they have at him. It's not like the opposing team isn't putting their best wing defender on him. Like, all these things are already happening. He's already playing with so little space, and to be quite frank, a lot of teammates that don't exactly know how to play around him that well, and he's making the most of it. And like, that goes back to, like, 60% of his made baskets are unassisted. Like, it's not like people are putting him in great situations. He's doing a lot of this himself. So I think the playoffs I think he's going to be that number one guy, especially the way Fred is looking with his knee. I think Pascal is going to be their number one guy, and I think he's going to look significantly better than he did against Boston in the bubble, and I think hopefully it'll kind of change people's opinions. The one thing I will say, like, to be fair and unbiased, is that the clutch stuff is where Siakam is still not, like, in superstar status. That's really the only thing where if you were to figure out the clutch time stuff, then he would be, like, a legitimate, like, top 10 superstar. Right now he's shooting like 40% in the clutch, and his usage rating is, like, less than OG, Fred, and Gary's. So it's not like he's like a superstar yet, but throughout the course of the game, he's carrying the Raptors, and I think he will in the playoffs.
All right, Oren, thank you. We're going to have to get you on again to talk about your precious piece about the Canadians in NCAA and just Canadians in basketball in general. But Oren Weisfeld, Raptors Republic, everywhere, to be honest, that you read Raptors stuff. So that does it for us today. I've been your host, Walu. You've been listening to The Raptors Show, powered by DoorDash. A reminder, we're streaming live on Sportsnet's YouTube channel and airing live on Sportsnet 360 Monday to Friday between 2 and 3 p.m. Thanks again to Oren Weisfeld and to Thad Young, to our board producer, Derek Bandale, and Jennifer Rollner for helping us behind the scenes with the YouTube stream. I'll talk to you soon.